Today I have a battle report of the game Crossfire of a German attack on a British-held hamlet in Normandy 1944. This is a fictional scenario and it's just one that I thought up because I fancied having a game. And yeah, it shows Crossfire's strengths quite well, I think, a kind of attack-defense scenario. So you can see here that we have a nice rural landscape. The hamlet is at the north of the board. There's a selection of fields and sparse woodlands surrounding it. And the Germans in this scenario will be approaching from the south up the road, and their objective is to take the hamlet, drive the British out of it, so that they can then stage a larger counterattack into Allied lines in the forthcoming days. You can see here the British have 2 platoons of infantry, a company commander and company heavy machine gun in support. The Germans have a company commander, 3 platoons of infantry, a heavy machine gun in support, and they're also assisted by a Panzer IV Alpha H, which is going to give them some much needed heavy firepower. So here's another look at the hamlet. You can see there, stone buildings provides good cover. The British will need to defend this so that they can prevent the Germans from moving further up the road towards a nearby objective. The Germans deploy first. We've got some troops out on the left hand side. We've got a platoon in the woodland, and then we have the other 2 platoons either side of a road, and then we have a Panzer IV coming down the road in the centre there. The Brits have opted to deploy 1 platoon in a sparse wide formation on the left flank. They're able to deploy in an L shape across the east and north of the board. And then the 2nd platoon of Brits is inside the hamlet here, with the company heavy machine gun and company commander over to the right hand side of the screen there. The battle opens up with the Panzer IV opening fire on the hamlet, doing some minor damage but nothing substantial. The German 1st platoon moves towards the forest on the left to try and get close to the hamlet and assault the British heavy machine gun position. The platoon on the road starts to get pinned down and suppressed by the British over in the woodland there, and they call up the tank for some support. On the right hand side, the German platoon is stuck in the fields as they're taking sporadic fire from British Bren gun teams in the woodland. The British heavy machine gun gets suppressed by the German machine gun squads as they move up towards the forest, enabling them to take better positions before they start taking fire. The Brits get a really good roll, hits are scored on a 5 or 6 in Crossfire, and they actually manage to kill the platoon commander of the platoon that's moving along the road on the eastern side of the battle. Back in the woodland, the British heavy machine guns recovered and they are able to start eliminating the German squads over there on the left flank. Some more hits are scored and the German 1st platoon on the left is almost completely destroyed. The 2nd platoon has now escaped from the woodland and they're able to move around the left flank of the battlefield to try and encircle the hamlet from the north. They're able to do this because there's no lines of fire from the British troops towards their location, so they can make quite sweeping moves, which is something really characteristic of a Crossfire game. Troops on the road still pinned down but the tank comes up and is able to start laying some heavy fire into the British troops in the forest, enabling the German infantry to start moving again. You can see here with the red markers, the Brits are all suppressed, meaning they can't move or shoot, and that frees up the Germans to take some rally actions and then get moving again behind the cover of the hedgerows. Some more good rolls by the British, and the platoon commander of German 1st Platoon has now been killed, eliminating an entire platoon from the game. On the far left flank, the Germans flanking the north of the hamlet are now being pinned down as the heavy machine gun is able to redeploy. The tank moves up and starts unloading shells and machine gun fire into the hamlet buildings, pinning or suppressing the inhabitants. The German heavy machine gun, still back at their deployment, is able to see and shoot at the British positions in the barn. More damage being done here by the Panzer IV, and the German infantry are able to seize some of the buildings. Finally, the British Piet team is destroyed by the Panzer IV, meaning there's nothing left on the board that can threaten it, and the British are unable to hold the town. The game ends in a German win. The Brits have taken heavy losses. They still have a platoon on the table, but there really isn't enough of them to put up any more of a defence, so they're going to have to withdraw and fight another day. You can see here the losses for both sides. It did look about 2/3 of the way through the game like the Germans were going to lose. The British heavy machine gun was just absolutely tearing through their forces, but as soon as that tank was able to come forward and start mopping them up, firing HE shells into the buildings, that definitely changed things in favour of the Germans. That's all for this one. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.